If you are a seasoned business owner and you're thinking about running Google Ads to generate leads for your business, or maybe you're currently running Google Ads for your own business on your own and you're managing it and you're just not really sure, is this realistic in terms of how many leads I should be getting? Or maybe you have an agency that's generating you leads, but you're not sure if they're really maximizing their potential. I'm going to have you guys look at three different criteria in order to determine what's truly realistic given the constraints that you have with Google Ads. I've had potential clients reach out saying, hey, I want 600 leads per month, but then they only have a $500 budget and the average cost per click is $30. So that's why we have to look at what's realistic. We need to look at the real market numbers to determine how many real leads we could be expecting. So let's look at the first criteria here. The first thing that I want you to look at is your average cost per click. The best place to find your average cost per click, and this is going to vary per industry, per market, because this is really dictated by the level of competition. You're going to use the Google Keyword Planner, which is a free tool within the Google Ads interface to determine what your average CPC or cost per click is. You will enter your location that you're targeting along with the main keyword phrases that you want to bid on, and then it will come back with the average top of page bid high and average top of page bid low. You could take the average of that to determine what your average CPC is, or if you want to be super aggressive, pick the top of page bid high and use that as your average CPC. Or if you want to be a little bit more conservative, then use the top of page bid low so you can at least start doing your estimate. Once you have that number, I want you to look at the next thing, and this is realistically your monthly budget. How much budget are you allocating per month? Because knowing your budget, this is your constraint here. And ideally, you would have unlimited budget, but as a business owner, you have to allocate a certain amount. It's not going to be unlimited. So what's your monthly budget? And also the last piece of the pie is going to be the estimated conversion rate. This is the tricky one because this is not necessarily a number. Well, actually, there is a way to find this if you have Google Analytics tracking. But if you've never run ads before or you don't have Google Analytics tracking to see what your current website conversion rate is, you're going to have to take an estimate. So conversion rate is your number of clicks that you get divided by number of conversions. So it's a number of clicks that actually lead to conversions, which are phone calls, form submissions. And if you've never run ads before, then you will probably need to take an estimate, or you can look at your Google Analytics if you have the tracking set up to see what your current conversion rate is on your website. If your current conversion rate is a 2%, then you can make an assumption that your conversion rate, if you're sending traffic to your website, is going to be similar using paid ads versus organic. If you don't have this number, ideally, if you have the right landing page set up, everything is conversion rate optimized. In the most ideal situation, assuming you're not an emergency-based service, I would estimate about a 10% conversion rate. Assuming you have a very strong landing page, everything is conversion rate optimized, you have great content and so forth. But this is on the higher end of the scale. If you don't have anything, you don't have professional help to get conversion rate optimized, then you probably want to go more conservative. If you're sending traffic to your website, probably estimate between 1% to 3%. If you're sending traffic to a highly targeted landing page, probably around a 10%. If you work in emergency services like a locksmith or some type of home restoration, maybe you can assume a 20 to 30%. But the number that I like to use, assuming that I'm setting up the end of the funnel with the right type of landing page, the right content, and that it's conversion rate optimized, is 10% here. So this leads us to a magic formula that put together here. And the magic formula is as follows. So your leads is equal to your monthly budget divided by your average CPC multiplied by your conversion rate. So what does this actually look like realistically? We can put some real numbers in here. So let's say, for simplicity's sake, you have a monthly budget of $1,000. Your average CPC is, let's say, $10, and this is more on the high end. Let's say your conversion rate is a 10%, assuming that you have a good landing page and strong offer. So 1,000 divided by 10 is 100, multiplied by 10%. That's 10. That's 10 leads. So that's how you go about doing the math to figure it out. This is going to be the biggest factor that could throw you up or down, right? If you don't have a good converting landing page, this number is going to be significantly lower. So that's why when you're doing your estimate, be as conservative as possible. Don't assume that you're going to be at 10% if you don't have a professional helping you and you're not using or if you're not using conversion rate optimization best practices. Probably want to estimate more on the lower end. Monthly budget. This is really up to you to decide realistically. And then your average CPC, you don't have control over this. This is pretty much what the market dictates. You have control over it to a certain extent in that, like, you can say, well, I don't want to be the most aggressive, but I still want to be aggressive enough to start seeing some traction. So this is how you would go about determining that to see what is realistic. And then from there, 10 leads. What's the average closing rate? Well, closing rate is going to depend on, this is taking it a little bit outside of the scope of this topic, but if you really want to take it further, then how many sales could I expect? Then we need your closing rate. Average closing rate, assuming that you've got good closers, let's just say 20%. So then the number of closed leads or sales would be 2. If you wanted to take it all the way to that for the actual estimation. And then from there, well, are 2 sales enough per month for $1,000? Your cost per customer is pretty much $500. What's your customer lifetime value? If your customer lifetime value was $10,000, that's a no-brainer. But if your customer lifetime value is $20, then don't even bother doing ads. Or don't even bother doing Google ads. So this is how we realistically look at the numbers. I just wanted to answer this direct question here. Very common question that comes up because we need to know realistically what we can expect. These are the main criteria that you need to look at. Use this magic formula to determine what your total leads could potentially be. Again, they're just estimates. I'd probably estimate anywhere between 8 and 10 here. This is assuming a 10% conversion rate. But assuming a 20% closing rate, and then we'd have 2 sales. So if you have any questions or would like a consultation, check out the description below to contact me if you're looking for managed services or an audit. I'd be happy to help you out. I offer managed services and audits, and I work with a lot of professional service-based businesses running Google Ads, doing strictly lead generation. So if you have any questions, check out the link below. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. I post videos every week about Google Ads, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.